Thanks for listening to Live Forever Young Radio. For centuries, spiritualists have tried to achieve inner balance. But what does that mean really? Find out as Bob and Rollie share a breakthrough device called the Inner Balance by HeartMath that is one of the easiest and most reliable ways to calm anxiety and stress. Discover how the heart and mind communicate and how to change your thoughts from believing that things aren't okay to a state of peace and gratitude. Learn some easy-to-use techniques that can be used together with the Inner Balance device to make anxiety a thing of the past. So sit back, relax, and get ready to live forever young.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live Forever Young Radio. I'm Bob. I'm here today with Rollie, who, in honor of the Tampa Bay Rays,
That's right.
he's wearing his Rays gear.
That's right.
Being that we're here in St. Petersburg, Florida, home of the Tampa Bay Rays.
That's right.
And today we have a very exciting topic. We are going to talk about a really, really important matter of managing your anxiety.
Yes.
Now, managing anxiety here in the first part of 2021, while the recovery is happening, still a little uncertainty, vaccinations are going on.
Yep.
There's still a lot of people experiencing anxiety, and even if their circumstances have changed, they have this residual effect from 2020 where people have developed patterns. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to talk about an amazing device called Inner Balance from the company called HeartMath that is the closest thing to a guaranteed way to begin to get out of a state of anxiety and more into a state of joyful anticipation of the future.
Exactly. We've actually talked about this device a lot on prior shows, and we've finally had the chance to put a show together where we can feature it. And then that way you guys can see it in action a little, get an idea more of in depth how it works and what it does. And like you said, I am actually very excited to share it because it's something that I really enjoyed, and you shared it with me. So now I feel like I get to impart it on to more people and give them a chance to beat that anxiety monkey off their back.
There you go. Device for people that are watching on YouTube or other video. This is what the device looks like. It's very simple. And what it does is it allows for cardio biofeedback. Mm-hmm. So this part clips onto your ear.
Yep.
You turn the device on, and it's actually measuring the variability of your heart rate and giving you feedback to an app on your phone, which we're going to show you exactly how this works in a minute, that tells you how well you're doing in controlling your anxiety and changing the way your heart beats. Mm-hmm. Now, this is very important, and we know from research from long time ago that people's thoughts and their reaction to events changes their heart.
Correct.
Right? So if you get scared by something and you need to run, your heart is going to start beating faster.
Right. It's going to respond.
Right. And then if you begin to calm down afterwards, or you decide you're going to meditate one day, your heart rate is going to slow down. So based on what's happening with your brain waves and your neurotransmitters in your brain, it has an effect on your heart. It was more recently that it was realized that the heart muscle actually has its own neurons, has its own little mini brain, and it's communicating with your brain in your skull. And your heart's actually affecting your brain the same way that your brain can affect your heart.
Right. It's like we were talking a little bit about it in another show, but with, I believe it was in Heart Health or Healthy Heart, Healthy Life, about how the heart itself, like you were saying, has neurons in order to open up that communication with the brain, essentially. So your actual, when they say your thoughts might not affect your health, that's completely wrong. Your thoughts have an extremely close relationship with your heart health.
That's correct. And the communication that's coming from your heart has a definite effect on the health of the whole rest of your body. Mm-hmm. So and this issue of heart rate variability is very important because you can see on a printout how much variability you have in your heart rate, and not to be confused with someone who has a fluttering heart or atrial fibrillation. This is a natural a variation in your heartbeat. And you want that because the variation in that heartbeat is indicative of a state of mind where everything is okay. And that variability ends up sending a signal to your brain. And signals are sent to your brain in a number of different ways. They're sent neuronally, right? So you have a signal going from your heart to your brain, same way your brain communicates inside its brain. And you also have electromagnetic pulses that are being produced both by your brain and your heart, and they're eavesdropping on each other and communicating with each other as well. And then also you have neurotransmitters. So your heart muscle actually makes some of the neurotransmitters that end up in your brain and create homeostasis in your brain. So there's multiple ways that it's going on. The one particular pathway that we are going to talk about today is a pathway that controls the state of mind, whether or not you are of the belief that things are okay. And then, therefore, how is your body going to be reacting?
Well, we've talked about before. What was the stat? How many people are of the belief that...
Well, it's not how many people, it's how often.
How often,
So it's the research shows that the average American is of the belief that everything is okay 5% of the time. And 95% of the time, we have anxiety. Even if it's just background anxiety, we're having anxiety.
But this can help.
Right. And this device, Inner Balance, is designed to move you away from that 5% so it becomes 10%, 20%, 50%, and to the point where you have a constant state of calm alertness, where you're of the belief that everything is okay almost all the time. And you only get into that state of everything's not okay if there's a true emergency.
Good.
Okay.
That's healthy.
And so the pathway works like this. So if you're having thoughts in your mind, gee, things aren't okay, I'm under stress here, you're looking over your shoulder, right? You send a signal to your heart muscle. Your heart beats a certain way with very little variability. And it sends then a signal to a different part of your brain called the amygdala, which has many tasks, but one of them is to kind of decide if things are okay or not, and send a signal to your frontal cortex thereof.
Okay, right? That's the amygdala.
And so it goes from the amygdala to the frontal cortex to the heart and back to the amygdala. And so what we're going to be doing and showing how to do today is how to create a pattern interrupt there by changing your breath and changing your focus from what's going on to things you're grateful for, things you're compassionate towards, beautiful, soft emotions.
Correct.
Right? And in this way, you're going to change the variability of your heart, which will change the signal to your amygdala, which will change the signal to your frontal cortex.
So you'll be able to be of the belief things are better.
Yes, absolutely. So this is the kind of the background of it. And other people have heard of another pathway that starts in your brain, the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis. Right? And this axis is what is making your adrenal glands produce cortisol in the mitochondria in your adrenal glands, which is then flooding your body with cortisol, a stress hormone.
Correct.
Right? And that's precipitated by this previous pathway we just described.
Okay.
Right? So if you can modify the preceding pathway, it will mitigate the excessive secretion of cortisol, which is very important because you are going to have a lack of energy if you are constantly secreting cortisol.
Right.
Because that cortisol that's produced by the mitochondria in your adrenals actually damages mitochondria in your other cells. And your mitochondria is where you make energy.
Right.
And so as the mitochondria produces less energy, you feel more anxious.
Right. And then that leads to much worse issues.
Right. And it's a cycle that needs to be broken. And so knowing all of this now, the scientists that figured this out, many of them from the HeartMath Institute
Right.
that invented the Inner
Inner
Balance
Balance,
device.
creators of the
They
Inner Balance, right?
did a lot of this research, and they created the device that helps with the mitigation.
Now, so basically, the bottom line is improve the communication between the amygdala, the heart, and the frontal cortex, and you will then improve the reaction of the adrenals and the production of cortisol, which we talk about as the stress hormone. That's one of the major stress hormones that you don't want a lot of, and you want to try to mitigate.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when you're able to do that, then your adrenals will reset. They'll gain strength.
Okay.
And as a result, your whole body is going to gain strength. And in HeartMath, they talk a lot about resilience. And they say that by using the HeartMath device, you are going to generate more resilience so that if something happens that's upsetting, you'll be able to better bounce back.
Okay.
Right? And a lot of that resilience is related to not flooding all of your mitochondria with cortisol so that you can make more energy.
So the actual
Right.
physical response is,
Yes.
is the big part of not feeling tired, the lessening of cortisol. Yeah,
And then
makes
when
sense.
you feel more resourceful because you have more energy and less of that crazy pathway that things aren't okay,
You can be more
Right.
productive, you can feel better, and your health would improve.
everything
Awesome.
improves. All right. So this is what we're going to do now.
Let's
I'm
show
gonna
it to
show
him
you
one
how
more
to
time.
use this.
Let me show him this thing just one more time. So it's really simple here. You got the little heart math, and then this is the power button, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
You
so
can go
that's
ahead and
the
push
power
it.
button.
Just
We'll turn that sucker on, and then that clips on your ear.
so we'll clip it here.
Actually, can you clip it on the other ear, Bob, so they can see it?
I've always clipped it on my left ear.
Oh, really?
And it's closer to my heart. And
Okay.
I never clipped it on my right, and I don't want to confuse my device.
Okay, we won't confuse the
All right,
electronics.
and then just turn on your phone, and I have the app loaded right here called Inner Balance, and you just tap it, and this beautiful mandala shows up, okay? And this mandala does two things. It's going to shrink down, and it's going to expand back up, and you're going to sync your breath to it. I've got mine synced to 5 seconds, which you can change in the settings if you want to. So I'm going to breathe in for 5 seconds, out for 5 seconds, and then as you do that, you want to begin focusing on things you're grateful for, okay? Being in a state of gratitude is the opposite of things are not okay, right? Because now you're focusing on what is okay.
Right, you're
This is what
thinking
you're
of the
grateful
things that are making you happy, the gratitude that keeps you going.
Right. And so then you're going to tap the screen and hit the go button. It scans for the sensor and finds it. And you can notice this is shrinking. Breathe out. Breathe in as it expands. And breathe out. It's giving you information about your heart rate variability across the top. And it's going to, and it just gave me a green dot, which means I'm doing well. My heart rate variability is in the range that's indicative of coherence, meaning I'm of the belief that things are okay.
That's
And
awesome.
my heart is beating well.
It's fun to watch it real time too. It's really cool to get an immediate response on what you're doing. Yeah, Bob, you're killing it. You're in the green. Good job. So after a few minutes and you're doing a good job, it'll go boom, boom, boom.
So I got one blue, and these are the greens. Okay. If you're not doing well, it's going to give you red. Right. And then when you're done, you can tap it, and it stops. Okay. And this then will give you feedback. You'll be able to see. You'll be able to write in a journal what your experience was like. Okay. See if this session started again. All right. So now I've stopped it. You get to give yourself a score with happy faces. We're going to do an orange happy face and hit done. And that just gave us our results of what was happening with the heart rate. So it was up in the green when I first started, and then as I stopped paying attention, it went back down into the blue area. Okay?
Yep.
And then it shows you this jagged line here is showing you where you were, right? So this is good. We're up here. It's a smooth thing. And then, it dropped down. And it got better, and it dropped down. So your task is to obviously sit quietly,
Right.
and focus and concentrate like a meditation. And so then this tells you what happened. So 58% of the time I was in high coherence, 33% medium, and 9% low. I did it for a minute and 20 seconds. My overall coherence was 1.5, and they give you points, achievement points, 18. Good.
You did pretty good for talking and,
Usually you're
pretty
sitting very quietly, focusing intently on gratitude.
Right, you're not usually on a podcast when you do that, so
And
I got to give you that. That was pretty good.
Hey, thanks, Rollie. And then when you're done, you can shut the device off. It charges up here at the end.
USB, regular USB, mini USB port. It's really easy to use. And we'll have some information on where you can find this. It's obviously made by the HeartMath company, and it's the Inner Balance device.
And you need a different one for Android versus iPhone, and so you can find that on their shop section on their website. If you click shop, you'll see where they differentiate it. And so I've been using this device for a couple of years, and so for me, it's now easy to get into the green state.
Mm-hmm. I've been using it for about a year and a half. I haven't used it recently because I've let someone borrow it because they needed it. But one of the things that I do always remember from using it is what really makes a big difference for me is the gratitude thing. And remembering the things and the aspects of the gratitude. So not just like, well, I'm thankful for my wife, but I'm thankful for how loving she is and how caring she is when I have an issue, and breaking the things you love down into even better aspects of what they are really helps you to realize that you do have things pretty well. You have things going on pretty good, and you don't have to be of the mindset that things aren't okay all the time. And that's what really that does for me anyway.
Yeah, and by using these aspects, by focusing on aspects like how kind someone is, the things they do for other people, this is what I call a gratitude stack, right? And the reason that you're doing it is it's easy to slip out of gratitude if you're just thinking about one macro thing, right? And so quickly your mind would drift out of gratitude, and you would no longer be training your heart and your amygdala what you want it to do.
Right.
So you want to make the most of your time by using a gratitude stack. Right? Now you can do this for as long as you want. I just did it for a minute and 20 seconds. Typically you do it for a minimum of 5 minutes.
Right.
And some people will do it for 45 minutes or an hour. Now, here's another really cool thing, Rollie. They, at HeartMath, actually have a group coherence aspect to the app on the phone. And what they're doing, I don't know exactly how they do this, but they have listening devices posted around the world.
Okay.
And they're measuring a vibration of some sort as to the totality of coherence of the heart of the collective of the world.
Really?
And they have these physical devices installed. They're like cell towers.
Really?
And so what they'll do is on a given day, they'll have a coherence day, and people that have devices will get onto their device and go into perfect coherence to lend their electromagnetic energy to the world's electromagnetic energy.
Wow.
And they're detecting the changes with these devices.
Really?
Yeah. So you can participate in global coherence.
It's time for global coherence and global gratitude to take over.
Very, very powerful way to participate in helping the world. Very generative.
I did not know about that at all.
And kids love it.
Oh, well, sure.
Because you can see all the other people. They actually give you a map.
Really?
And it zones in on your area if you narrow it down.
Yeah.
And you can see people in your neighborhood
doing
that are doing HeartMath at the same time that are on the portion of the app for global coherence.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. And you can see how many people worldwide are doing it, and you can see a dot for every person around the world.
Wow, community of HeartMathers.
Yeah. They're watching you.
That's funny.
Yeah, they're watching.
You better be in coherence.
So,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so
not just for that, but just because it's really good for you. It really is.
Yeah. It's imperative actually because the anxiety is going to, through that pathway of the mitochondria, is going to create low energy.
Right.
And so you want to give your mitochondria a chance to really supply your whole body and mind with enough energy. And a good thing to do in conjunction with this is to make sure you have the right nutrients that power your mitochondria. So your mitochondria, it does a few different things, but it's generating adenosine triphosphate from the Krebs cycle in the mitochondria, which is your molecule of energy.
Exactly.
Right? And so we know that you need certain B vitamins, coenzyme Q10, in order to execute that pathway.
The cycle.
And people that are under constant anxiety have damaged their mitochondria, not just the ability to produce energy, but you've damaged the wall of
actual
the mitochondria.
Structure of the mitochondria.
Right. Because of inflammation. Cortisol creates inflammation.
Right.
Okay? So a good strategy to use in combination with this, while you are getting to the place where everything is okay, is to give yourself the right nutrients to power back up your mitochondria, stop the inflammation, to make repairs, not only to the wall of the mitochondria, which is easily damaged, but mitochondria has its own DNA that gets cuts and nicks in it that need to be constantly repaired. And in order to make those repairs, you have to have various nutrients to do that will power that repair cycle that's biochemical.
If the DNA of the mitochondria doesn't get repaired, do you have a dysfunctional cell at that point that's unable to make energy? And
it can actually create the death of the whole cell.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're not even just dysfunction, just gone.
Right. Because the mitochondria is making the energy for the rest of the cell. So cellular death can actually be traced to anxiety.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so this is why that's so important. And if people are interested in getting those nutrients that you need, and if you have questions about the Inner Balance device, give us a call at Bloomers Forever Young here in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, we have people that can actually point you to some of the information. Like I said, we'll put information about the Inner Balance and HeartMath device on the blog for this show. But if you have questions and you kind of really not sure where to find it, you can give us a call at 1-800-861-4609. Actually, Bob, you got an Inner Balance device for everybody here because of how much you believe in them. And actually, it really is a great thing. I think Jean's using one, and I know that Lucy uses one. So those people that you can talk to are those people, Jean and Lucy. You can actually talk to them about how it works. So either way, check it out.
And Rollie, I think that's pretty much it.
Well, yeah, we went over the whole thing. Not much more to it except go and do it, right?
That's it. They're only $159, and
for what it is, it's not.
And you begin to feel better right away.
Yeah, I have to admit, the first time he had me do it, it was quite profound. And don't wait. If you have any questions, need to know anything, give us a buzz. But I think we did a good job letting them know how it works.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, actually, to get it going. It can get really complicated if you want to get into all the aspects of it, but that basic part that will immediately change your heart rate variability and the signal to your amygdala happens just that fast, like we showed it.
That's cool.
But it's a highly sophisticated app. There's lots of information built right in with the app, like a whole book worth of information is in there, and you can participate in the global coherence if you want to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
It's great. And I guess that's it for now. Thanks to everybody who is watching and listening to Live Forever Young Radio, and we'll see you on the next show.
Thanks for listening to Live Forever Young Radio. Check us out at liveforeveryoungradio.com.